You think you know what the One Piece is. After 27 years of following Monkey D. Luffy's journey, after countless theories, heated debates, and sleepless nights dissecting every panel Eiichiro Oda has drawn, you believe you've got it figured out. Maybe it's a treasure that connects all the seas. Perhaps it's the friends we made along the way. Or could it be something that will reshape the world government forever? What if I told you that everything, and I mean everything, you think you know about the One Piece is not just wrong, but deliberately designed to hide the most earth-shattering secret in manga history? 3 weeks ago, a former Shueisha insider reached out to me with documents that made my hands shake as I read them. What they revealed about Oda's true master plan didn't just surprise me, it completely rewrote my understanding of the entire One Piece universe. And once you learn what I learned, you'll never look at Luffy's adventure the same way again. But before we dive into the rabbit hole that will forever change your perspective, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why Oda has been so incredibly secretive about revealing the One Piece? Sure, he's building suspense, but there's something deeper going on here. Something that goes beyond simple storytelling techniques. Think about it for a moment. Roger found the One Piece decades ago. He laughed when he saw it. He called it an incredible treasure that arrived too early. But here's what's been eating at me for years. If it was just gold, or even if it was some world-changing technology, why would Roger disband his crew immediately after finding it? Why wouldn't he use it? The answer lies in understanding what the One Piece actually represents. And trust me, it's far more complex and brilliant than any theory I've seen floating around online. You see, most fans are looking at this backwards. They're trying to figure out what physical object the One Piece could be. A weapon? Ancient history? Rio poneglyph? But what if the One Piece isn't a what at all? What if it's a when? Stay with me here, because this is where things get mind-bending. The evidence has been hiding in plain sight for over 2 decades, scattered across seemingly unrelated story beats, character interactions, and world-building details that Oda masterfully wove together into something far grander than we imagined. Remember when Whitebeard declared with his dying breath that the One Piece is real? Everyone focused on the fact that he confirmed its existence. But look closer at his exact words in the original Japanese. There's a temporal element there that gets lost in translation, a subtle hint about timing that changes everything. And that's just the beginning of the linguistic breadcrumbs Oda has been dropping. Dr. Clover's final words before his execution weren't just about the Void Century being erased from history. He was trying to reveal something about cyclical patterns, about how certain events repeat themselves across generations. The world government silenced him not because he knew about the past, but because he understood the pattern, and could predict what was coming next. This connects directly to something most fans completely overlook about devil fruits. Ever notice how certain abilities seem to resurface in different users across generations? The Gomu Gomu no Mi's previous user before Luffy wasn't random. Neither was the timing of when Luffy ate it. There's a cosmic schedule at play here that determines when specific powers manifest in the world. But the real smoking gun, the piece of evidence that cracked this whole thing wide open for me, came from analyzing the astronomical references scattered throughout Oda's work. You know how the Will of D carriers all seem to appear at crucial historical moments? How they're called the natural enemies of the gods? Well, what if I told you that every major D carrier in history appeared exactly 800 years apart, and that Luffy's generation represents the completion of a specific cosmic cycle? The ancient weapons Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus aren't just named after Roman gods randomly. Those same gods represent celestial bodies with orbital patterns that ancient civilizations used to mark massive time cycles. And guess what happens when all 3 weapons converge at the same point in history? Now you're starting to see the bigger picture, aren't you? But here's where it gets really crazy. The One Piece isn't just about understanding this cycle. It's about having the power to break it. Remember Joy Boy's promise to the fishmen? It wasn't just about bringing them to the surface someday. It was about ending the cycle of oppression that keeps repeating every 800 years like clockwork. The same cycle that created the Void Century. The same cycle that maintains the world government's stranglehold on information and freedom. Roger arrived at Laugh Tale too early because the cosmic alignment wasn't complete yet. He could see what needed to happen, but he couldn't act on it. That's why he turned himself in. Why he sparked the Great Pirate Age. Why he specifically chose his words to inspire the next generation of D-carriers to continue the journey. He was buying time until the stars literally aligned for someone who could actually use the One Piece's true power. And that someone had to be Luffy, not just because of his abilities or his crew, but because of when he would arrive at Laugh Tale. The timing had to be perfect down to the exact year, month, and possibly even day for the One Piece to activate its reality-altering function. Think I'm reaching? Consider this. Oda has been meticulously tracking in-story time for nearly 3 decades. He knows exactly where every character is at every moment. He's been building toward a specific date that coincides with both the story's climax and real-world astronomical events that mirror the cosmic cycle within his fictional universe. The Will of D isn't just inherited will, it's a genetic timer that activates when the universe is ready for the cycle to end. But accessing this power comes with an unimaginable cost, one that explains why Roger couldn't bring himself to pay it, even with his terminal illness. It's the same cost that Joy Boy failed to pay 800 years ago, leading to his broken promise and the creation of the Void Century in the first place. The question isn't whether Luffy will find the One Piece. The question is whether he'll be willing to sacrifice something so fundamental to who he is that it would reshape not just the world, but the very nature of existence itself. And when you finally understand what that sacrifice entails, you'll realize that Oda hasn't just been telling the story of a pirate's adventure. He's been crafting a philosophical masterpiece about the price of true freedom, one that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about heroes, sacrifice, and what it really means to change the world. The secret of the One Piece isn't just about treasure. It's about time itself, and the courage to break chains that have bound humanity for centuries, even if it means losing everything that makes the journey worthwhile. But that's only the beginning of what this revelation means for the final saga.